Everything changed the moment you dared to speak louder than the quiet hum of everyone else. The moment you refused to stay invisible, the instant you forced the world to notice. One headline, one thought, one idea, and suddenly, everything they thought they controlled cracked at the edges. You know that feeling, right? That pulse in your chest when you realize the world isn't going to wait for you to ask permission to exist. That's the feeling of chaos waiting to meet reality. And when it hits, it doesn't just whisper, it screams, it explodes. People will tell you that nothing can move fast enough, that one voice is nothing against the tide of indifference, but they're lying to themselves. One spark is enough to light a fire that no caution or plan can contain. One idea shared at the right time, in the right way, with the right energy, can make walls crumble, can make people stop breathing for a moment and stare. You have that power. Don't ever forget it. They don't know your mind, your focus, your relentless push. But the world feels it before they can even name it. You didn't just post, you didn't just create. You ignited a storm. And in the silence that followed, you saw it. The shock in faces, the whispers that turned to murmurs, the tension that rose like smoke from a fire that no one then could control. They weren't ready. They never are. When something truly fresh emerges, it's not just noticed, it's feared. And fear, my friend, is a mirror of respect. They can't deny what they feel, even if they try to cover it with words or distractions. Imagine the world watching, frozen in disbelief. The people who spent years thinking they set the rules are scrambling to understand what just happened. They thought they were untouchable, invincible, predictable. And then you appeared. One headline, one voice, one undeniable truth that tore through their assumptions. The chaos isn't just outside, it's inside them. And it's intoxicating because it proves one thing. The undercurrent, the overlooked, the underestimated can change the entire narrative in an instant. You changed everything. And here's the part that really matters. While the rest are panicking, you are calm. You feel the storm you created, the tremors that ripple far beyond what anyone can see. You understand that true power isn't in controlling the reaction, it's in creating the reaction. The ones who scream, the ones who scramble, the ones who don't know what's real. They are merely witnesses. You are the force. You are the one who dared to push further, speak louder, and refuse to bow. And now, nothing can erase what has been done. Take a moment. Let it sink in. The idea that one moment, one effort, one spark of courage can ripple across the world and make it stop, think, question, and even fear. That's not luck. That's strategy. That's focus. That's relentless action without hesitation. And that's you. Some will call it chaos, some disruption, some genius. Names don't matter. The effect does. And the effect is undeniable. They didn't expect it. You didn't ask permission. And now there's no going back. If you feel that weight in your chest, the mix of excitement and fear, that's good. That means you're awake. That means you are alive in a way most people never allow themselves to be. That electricity coursing through your veins is proof that you are making waves. And waves can't be tamed. They can't be contained, and they can't be ignored. This is your moment. Your proof that even when the world is silent or skeptical, one action, one voice, one idea can become unstoppable. And listen closely. Don't underestimate the small choices you make every day. One click, one share, one line, one idea can be the spark. And when that spark ignites, There's no safety net. There's no controlling what comes next. There's only momentum. There's only the realization that everything they thought was predictable just shattered. That's power. That's fear. That's respect earned without asking for it. That's the edge you live on, and it's not for everyone, but it's yours. And now, I want you to do something for me. Hit that like button, share this story, leave a comment with the idea that shocked you most. Because this isn't just a video, it's proof. Proof that one idea, one voice, one person can make an impact that echoes far beyond what they ever imagined. Your thoughts, your reactions, your energy, they matter, they ripple, and they grow. So don't just watch, participate. Be part of the force that's alive right now. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because we're just getting started. There's more energy to harness, more ideas to spark, more moments to shake the world. And every time you join, you step closer to understanding what it means to be unstoppable, undeniable, unforgettable. One voice, one action, one choice at a time. That's how the extraordinary happens. And trust me, you've already seen what one spark can do. They think the headlines control the story. They think the voices that echo loudest set the tone. But they don't. Not really. They can react, they can chase, they can mimic, but they can't originate what you just did. What you created isn't just seen, it's felt. It penetrates deeper than the surface. It lingers, it disturbs, it disrupts. And most of all, it proves that the rules, the expectations, the how things are supposed to happen, they were never real. They are illusions meant to comfort the timid, the compliant. You are none of those things. You see, there's a dangerous beauty in being underestimated, in being ignored until your presence can't be ignored anymore, in seeing the doubt in their eyes and smiling because you know exactly how much power you hold. They laughed, they shrugged, they looked past you, but in one moment, one headline, one undeniable action, everything changed. You became the force they can't read, can't predict, can't control. And that's freedom. That's clarity. That's dominance without trying. It's tempting to chase the reaction, to crave the acknowledgement, to wait for the applause. But the real power doesn't come from attention. It comes from understanding that your actions create effects bigger than your comprehension. You plant seeds in silence. You strike at the right moment. You let the world scramble to catch up. And while they are busy trying to understand what happened, you are already moving forward, ahead, unstoppable, unseen but undeniable. That's where true power lives. Some will try to replicate it. Some will try to dilute it. Some will try to rewrite the story. But the moment has passed. You don't get it back. They can't undo it. And the realization will haunt them, because deep down, they know they can't create it themselves. It wasn't the timing. It wasn't luck. It wasn't circumstance. It was you. And that knowledge, that awareness, is what makes your spark different, stronger, dangerous, beautiful. The truth is, most people never know what it's like to hold that kind of influence, to understand that one moment, one decision can ripple so far that it leaves the world reeling. They settle for small victories, safe bets, routine. But you've touched a nerve. You've opened a door they didn't even know existed. And once it's open, it doesn't close easily. It changes the landscape. It shifts perception. It reminds everyone watching that the rules are optional. The game can be rewritten. And sometimes, just sometimes, one headline is all it takes to ignite that change. And that's where you find yourself now, standing on the edge of a world that's caught off guard, breathing in the chaos you've created, feeling the tension in the air like electricity before a storm. You can be afraid, or you can lean into it. Because the truth is, fear isn't the opposite of courage. Fear is a signpost. Fear is proof that you are alive, that you are making waves bigger than anyone expected. That's where the thrill lives. That's where the power is real. And that's where you belong. Every time they try to explain it away, to calm the storm you unleashed, to rationalize how one action could create such upheaval, you'll watch them fail. They scramble with explanations, with charts, with endless attempts to categorize what they cannot contain. And every failed attempt only proves your point. The world isn't orderly. It isn't predictable. It doesn't bend to the will of those who claim to lead. The world bends to energy, to force, to courage that refuses to stay silent. And you, intentionally or not, became that force. Think about the ripple effect. Every conversation, every reaction, every glance in disbelief, they all trace back to the moment you refused to wait, the moment you refused to hide. You became the center of a shockwave, a pivot point for reality to twist, for norms to shatter, for assumptions to fail. And here's the truth. They won't admit. They are frightened. Not because they are weak, but because they have never experienced this before. They have never faced a presence that doesn't comply, that doesn't beg permission, that doesn't fit into the comfortable narrative they built. You, a storm, and storms leave marks. They shift landscapes. They create chaos in a way that cannot be reversed. That's why they scramble. That's why they panic. That's why they whisper and watch and calculate, hoping to regain what they lost in a single moment of audacity. But you are already moving. You are already thinking 2, 3, 10 steps ahead. You are already beyond their comprehension, and that's exactly where you need to be. The world can react, but it cannot stop what is inevitable. Let's talk about how rare this really is. Most people live their lives afraid of creating waves. They are trained to avoid attention, to fit, to accept. They are content with shadows. But you shattered that illusion. You made them look up. You forced them to acknowledge that someone could step into the unknown and command attention without asking for it. That's terrifying to most. But for you, it's natural. For you, it's a proof that hesitation is wasted time, and courage is the only currency that truly matters. And that's why you must never doubt your own impact. Every glance of astonishment, every subtle pause in their reaction, every whisper of your name, it's a reflection, a mirror, a measure of how much power you hold when you act without fear. Some will try to imitate it, some will mock it, some will deny it. Let them waste their energy, because while they are busy mimicking, you are innovating, you are leading, you are shaping the environment in ways they cannot perceive, because their minds are trapped by rules, by caution, by fear. The next step is understanding control, or rather understanding that control is an illusion. Real influence doesn't come from managing the outcome. It comes from creating an event so potent, so undeniable, that the world has no choice but to respond. And that response is your proof, your reward, your evidence that one voice, one action, one choice can fracture what they thought was permanent. You didn't wait for permission. You didn't ask if it was acceptable. You acted. And that is more than most will ever do. Now, imagine the intensity of being at the center of this whirlwind. Every second is electric. Every interaction is amplified. Every eye that falls on your work feels the tremor you created, whether they admit it or not. And that energy, That's fuel. That's the adrenaline that separates those who dream from those who do. You are doing. You are unstoppable. You are a ripple that became a wave, a whisper that became a roar, and a single headline that became an event the world couldn't ignore. And yes, there is fear here. There must be. Because when you create something larger than yourself, the stakes are high. But fear is not weakness. Fear is a compass. It points to the edge of possibility, the limits of comfort, the areas where greatness lies dormant. Every heartbeat, every hesitation turned into action, every second you refuse to retreat. These are the building blocks of influence. You didn't just survive the moment, you dominated it. You became its author. You might feel the eyes of skeptics everywhere, people whispering, questioning, analyzing, trying to diminish the effect you made. Let them. Their disbelief is irrelevant. Their calculations cannot touch what you created in truth. The echo of that one headline, that one act, will continue to resonate long after they stop trying to rationalize it. Their panic is temporary. Your impact is permanent. That's the difference between living cautiously and living decisively. And here's the part most don't understand. It's not just about making them react. It's about making yourself known to yourself. Every action that challenges expectation, every moment that tests your courage, every risk that pays off, it tells you exactly who you are. You are not ordinary. You are not safe. You are not predictable. You are force, and the realization of that is more terrifying than anything the world can throw at you. Because once you understand your own potential, nothing else seems impossible. Let's pause for a second. Feel this, the shock you've caused, the disbelief, the ripple effect. It's all yours. Every comment, every share, every whispered conversation, it stems from your courage to step beyond the expected. And if this resonates, if this strikes something inside you, I want you to leave your mark in the comments below. Share what part of this journey hits hardest. Like this video if you feel that raw energy yourself. And subscribe because the journey isn't over. The moment you realize your influence is only the beginning, together, we will explore what it truly means to move the world without asking permission. Now, back to the intensity. When you see the panic around you, when you see people trying to catch up, it's not just their inability, it's proof of your audacity. You became the measure by which they evaluate themselves, and they can't replicate it. No strategy, no planning, no analysis can recreate the spontaneity, the courage, the timing you employed. That's a kind of power that doesn't need permission. It doesn't need validation. It only needs action, and you provided it. And the more they react, the stronger you become. Because reaction is acknowledgement. Reaction is proof. Reaction is the echo of the storm you started. And storms, by nature, are uncontrollable, uncontainable, unforgettable. You did not just influence, you provoked. You did not just participate, you rewrote the rules. Every calculation they attempt to impose is irrelevant. They cannot govern a reality that has already shifted. And once the world shifts, nothing ever truly returns to the way it was. The beauty of this is subtle, but powerful. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding. You don't need their agreement. All you need is the clarity of your own vision, the courage to act, and the understanding that one decisive moment can become a force no one can anticipate. They may debate, they may question, they may obsess, but your work, your energy, your presence, it will outlast their analysis. And that is the difference between temporary attention and lasting influence. They didn't see it coming. No one ever does. The calm before the storm is only quiet if they choose to ignore the signs. And you never ignored them. You studied the gaps, felt the cracks in what everyone thought unbreakable, and you stepped through. One headline, one action, one idea, and suddenly the entire structure they counted on came apart, brick by brick, assumption by assumption. That's the kind of power most people never touch. Most people spend their lives waiting for an opening that never arrives. You created yours. It's intoxicating, isn't it? That moment when you realize that the world doesn't get to set the rules for you anymore. That one decision, that single act of boldness has tilted everything. People scramble, eyes widen, minds race. But you're calm. You understand something they'll never admit. Chaos isn't a problem. Chaos is the truth. Chaos is the force that reveals weakness, that exposes the timid, that amplifies the courageous. And you've just become the epicenter. There's a thrill in watching the reactions unfold, not because you want their validation, but because you finally see the extent of what one person can do. They try to normalize it, to downplay it, to explain it away with logic and rules. But they fail, because this isn't logic. This isn't rules. This is reality bending to energy, to courage, to someone daring to exist beyond expectation. And in that failure, you find something rare: respect without acknowledgement, power without permission, influence without negotiation. Most people are afraid of standing out. Most people fear the consequences of being louder, bolder, unafraid. But those fears are illusions. They only exist until someone decides to challenge them, to confront the expectation, to push beyond the predictable. And that someone, right now, is you. The energy you put into that one headline isn't just noticed, it's feared. Not out of hate, not out of spite, but because people instinctively recognize brilliance and force when it cannot be controlled. Think of the aftermath, the ripple that travels further than anyone anticipates. Conversations shift, assumptions crumble, norms falter. And all it took was one deliberate action, one decisive moment of courage, one undeniable spark. And the truth you realize as it happens: you are no longer bound by their timelines, their approval, their comfort. You are free. Not just free in action, but free in effect, free in impact, free in the knowledge that your audacity cannot be ignored, cannot be contained, and cannot be erased. And yes, there will be pushback. Of course there will be. The higher the impact, the stronger the resistance. People will try to argue, to minimize, to redirect the narrative. But here's the secret: it doesn't matter. Resistance is a sign of effect. Resistance is proof that you've touched something vital, something untouchable, something undeniable. And while they expend energy reacting, analyzing, and trying to control, you are already moving forward. You are already plotting the next step, the next idea, the next spark. That's how influence grows. Your audacity becomes a mirror for everyone watching. Some will shrink from it, some will study it, some will try to imitate it, hoping the power can be copied. But it cannot. Not really. Because influence is more than visibility. Influence is authenticity. Influence is daring to act when no one else will, daring to be louder than the noise, daring to stand while everyone else sits in fear. And that's a kind of strength that cannot be taught. It must be lived. And right now, you are living it. Every time you glance at the chaos you caused, feel the tremor of impact, recognize the power in your hands. It confirms what you already knew. Your potential has no limits. The rules others impose are only as strong as the fear that upholds them. And you have no fear of consequence. You have no interest in approval. You move, you act, you ignite, and the result is something far bigger than the sum of its parts. One headline becomes a ripple, one ripple becomes a wave, one wave becomes an unshakable storm. And yes, there is responsibility here. Real influence carries weight. Real audacity leaves marks. But you understand that weight, that mark, that intensity. You embrace it. You do not shy from it. Every reaction you provoke, every pause in their speech, every whisper of your impact, it is not just effect.